Bo, how are you? How are you dealing with kind of an embarrassing, emasculating, bullying loss for the biggest, toughest team in football that got pushed around?
See, here we go. I knew that there was some way that you were going to have to wind up going a little bit too far. I mean, you could make the argument, yes, that maybe they didn't stand on this square as well as they could for 60 minutes of action. Before that first minute after, baby, you saw that there was still some fight in them, now didn't you?
There's still some fight in them. I'm worried about that Lions safety room, which is, I know it's actually all defensive backs, but
yeah.
Kirby is a first-team All-Pro who, after the game, sent out, I counted, 24 tweets or retweets blaming the refs.
And he's also not physically well.
Brian Branch, Bo, I thought he was about to cry in that postgame when he said they were bullying me. And I just think it was a good kind of end cap to a game that started with the Lions telling the world, we can't get 6 inches on the Kansas City Chiefs without throwing it to Jared Goff. What happened to running the ball with David Montgomery? What happened to the big, tough offensive line? I'm worried about your Lions, Bo. I got to tell you.
I got to tell you also, things were looking really good up until they got big-brained with that throw to Jared Goff, which I have to say, it always looks impressive when it works, right? Like,
for sure.
And I will also say that it feels tougher when it's a throwback to Penei Sewell, right? That feels like it's still within the ethos of what we got going. Where I absolutely agree with you is you guys don't have to do this anymore. Right?
Correct.
Like you don't have, and maybe you never had to do it in the first place, but you don't have to be so cute in doing some of these things. Like this is, in many ways, this is beneath them. What I find fascinating about it is now that we have seen this persist through 2 offensive coordinators, it is very clear, ironically, that the razzle-dazzle is coming from Dan Campbell.
Yes, that's right. That's what, and and he's not only okay with it, but like, as you put, maybe encouraging it. And I just think there's a time, I don't mind. I hate the analysis of trick plays are awesome when they work and they suck when they don't. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just thought 4th down with inches to go, what was an odd place for it. And I also, if you remember that exact sequence, the Chiefs Dan Campbell called a timeout right before 4th down, but they had already started the play. Andy was mad because he didn't think Campbell had called it in time. But their initial 4th down play was a Goff rollout to the right that then ended up being aborted. And then their next 4th down play is this trick play. It was really weird to me that they wouldn't just try to run it straight down Kansas City's throat. Now, I'm overstating, the concern about the Lions. I texted you that Amon-Ra St. Brown literally had not had a drop charted. Again, I haven't charted it all, but in the numbers since 2023. He went all of last year without a drop, didn't have a drop all of this year, and then dropped that 4th down, and that was a huge play. I think your team obviously is excellent. I didn't like after the game, but whatever. Dan Campbell handled it great after the game. Dan Campbell's awesome. Like, he's awesome. My only question, big picture from that game for your team, and then we can get to the team that's obviously going to win the Super Bowl again. Obviously, it's the best team in football. Do you agree with Collinsworth that the way they're built, it is a concern if they have to play from behind? Collinsworth sounded that alarm about, like, when you get Goff into a straight drop back passing game and the team's not worried about the run, the opposing team, that's when they can struggle. And it felt a little harsh, but then I thought about it. I was like, the playoff game, week 1, week 6, those 3 instances when they were behind by more than 1 score, Goff did seem, he didn't struggle. He only didn't complete 3 passes, but the offense didn't hum. Did you think that was fair critique? As I drink out of my Bomani Jones mug.
Yes, I do. And I do think that. So the thing about Goff is one of these guys. Like, I say this about Joe Burrow, and I don't mean it to be insulting, but it's just factually true that, wow, he sure looks awesome when everybody else is too. Right. So like Jared Goff built his career off the time that Sean McVay looked most like a genius, and that was when they had Todd Gurley. Right.
Yep.
Like, you put somebody back there, and he can, if you don't ask him to do too much, he might be able to give you the world. And so,
Yep.
yeah, if you have to play from behind, or like, hey, go get it for us, Tiger. Tiger is not that kind of Tiger. The thing that I say about the Lions is, because of the nature of their running game, when they get behind, I don't really see why you need to stop running the ball.
I totally agree. Like, they were never behind in the Chiefs game enough to where it felt like they were never behind 3 scores.
Right.
Like, the most they were ever down was 10, I guess 13 at the very end, but effectively 10. And it just felt like you could keep running the ball. And the other thing that I was surprised they didn't do more of, and I think if they were to meet in the Super Bowl, they would, is passing to Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, where the Chiefs defense, I don't have the numbers to back this up. I haven't looked at this. I just know from watching them under Spags, I'm not talking swing passes, but I'm talking getting a running back out in a route as a receiver, because the Chiefs love playing all those linebackers, and you get Bolton on Jahmyr Gibbs, and that's a problem. And so I thought they would have done more of that, and they didn't so much.
I think the thing to watch out for with the Lions is, looking at personnel, they have to scheme big plays, because the only real big play receiver they have is the dude that got caught betting from the team facility. Like, we gotta put a lot of faith in an untrustworthy fellow in order to make it happen. But he's really the only guy. Like, he and Gibbs, like, they can't stop running the ball with Gibbs, because Gibbs is as much a big play threat as anybody outside of J-Mo is, if you're gonna figure something out. Like, they're going to have to manufacture this, and they're going to have to somehow figure out how to stay healthy, because they feel kind of like San Francisco, where we play big, strong, physical football, and the line between the hammer and the nail is like really narrow. And their dudes, like Kirby Joseph, is not physically there on top of everything else, right? All those guys on defense that are hurt, it's going to be a tough road for them next game they play, just because they're so physically beat up. And we're not deep enough into the season. Like, last year, they ended the season with a mass unit, but that was ending.
It wasn't early, and it's also why Branch getting himself suspended for a huge game. This could determine the 1 seed.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's just down to these 2 teams, but if Tampa wins, they have an effective 3-game lead on Detroit for the 1 seed, because there'll be 2 up in the standings and have the head-to-head tiebreaker. And listen, I understand Branch probably didn't think he was going to get suspended and wasn't thinking, but that is a brutal time and a brutal team to have one of your safeties, as you mentioned, Kirby Joseph, who limped. Like, the way he came off the field in that game, I was like, oh, he can't play again. And then he did come back. That was weird, but his knee's bothering him, and Branch now suspended. Now, the glass half full or 3/4 full. You probably just played, the best team in the league by a large margin. And so maybe that's it. I mean, maybe you guys were the only team in the league that would have held the buzzsaw that is the Kansas City Chiefs to just 30 points this weekend.
This is why, aside from the fact that I don't typically watch night games at Nick's house because I have to get back home, but this is the other reason I thought it would be better for us that if it was a 4:30 kick, I'd have brought out my Barry Sanders throwback and come on over to the crib and endangered our
I
friendship.
thought you might show up, honestly. I thought there was a chance you were going to show up after that first drive when they're just running it down the field. I was like, if they go up 7-0, Bo's 4 minutes away by car. Like, Bo could show up at any moment. I was prepared for it.
It crossed my mind. It's not a difficult subway ride at all. It dawned on your boy that might have been it. But with the Chiefs, I am with you. They're okay. They're just fine. It looked a little tough early on, but now that they got honestly, everything changed for me with that Thornton dude.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's the greatest receiver in the world, but I am saying he's running by people, and Worthy, at least until the next time he runs into somebody, is out here running by people. And Rashee Rice will be back at some point. Like, they had for a couple of years a bunch of we can just get open guys. And now we look up and realize, oh no, they got a lot of we can run by you guys.
Well, and so they have now the Thornton. So I thought this last game was a good example. Thornton didn't have a catch, but he impacted the game when he was on the field. It was not that much because of his speed, plus Mahomes' ability to throw it anywhere, and Mahomes putting on tape. I will throw to this guy. He's not just a decoy. Like, if he's open down the field, I will throw to him. The way it opened up the intermediate part, which is why people are overthinking. They're like, why is Kelsey better this year? It's not because he lost 7 pounds, in my opinion. It's because there's less congestion in the middle of the field because safeties have to worry about Tyquan Thornton. The Chiefs are throwing deep again. Now you have Xavier there. And where I am super bullish is, listen, I give credit to Juju for doing his role great. He blocks, he's tough, he plays that kind of intermediate slot receiver. But at this point in his career, I bet he runs a 4.7. Like, his knees are shot. They are going to just drop Rashee Rice into the role Juju's been playing. And you're going to have Kelsey and Rashee Rice in the intermediate. Tyquan Thornton, basically, my guess is running 9 routes when he's on the field, or Hollywood Brown. And then Xavier, the thing about Xavier Worthy, and you obviously know this as a Texas guy, yes, he's a 4.2 40 and weighs 160 pounds. But for good or for bad, the guy does run all the routes. Yeah. He's not just a deep, now maybe he should be mostly a deep downfield receiver because he's going to get beat up. But Xavier can, run posts, can run ends, can do anything. And so I just think they're going to be an incredibly difficult offense to defend, especially since Mahomes now trusts his offensive line for the first time in a few years.
And the defense looks like a defense, because that was, I think most of us would agree, when it was looking bad early this year, it had as much to do with defense as anything else, especially since Chris Jones, is willing to play football, apparently. I don't know how excited he is about it, but, punch in, punch out.
Listen, when for a decade your season's 21 games for a sport that's designed to play about 15, you have to pick your spots. And Chris, in that Lions game, by the way, made as he historically has, made his biggest impact on, the biggest third down late in the game to kind of ice it. I'm not worried about Chris Jones. I do think they're going to make a trade. And the question is, are they going to trade for a running back or attempt to trade for a pass rusher? I have been saying running back, and I think running back is far easier to come by. It seems like the consensus is, or close to consensus is, they're more likely to go after a pass rusher. I would listen, I have massive respect for Isaiah Pacheco. It appears breaking his leg last year sadly changed the trajectory of his career. He's just not the same guy. And it is, it's funny. Your favorite person in the world, my youngest daughter, Deanna, her entire context of watching professional football is watching Chiefs games with me.
Yes.
And so we were watching, some other game. It doesn't matter. That was just on. And the running back went for 6 yards. And she turns to me. She's like, that was really good by him, wasn't it, Daddy? And I'm like, actually, that's pretty normal. She's like, no, and I'm like, oh, you're just used to Pacheco getting 1.5 yards every single time. You just think like the running back is supposed to run into the offensive line and it's 2nd and 8. So you saw a different running back get you to 2nd and 4 and thought it was a huge play. So if Pacheco's not going to bounce back, I think adding a running back could really add a dynamism to this offense. But either way, it doesn't matter because nobody else is good in the AFC.
Football through the eyes of an uninvested child is so great. As my favorite Deanna line from football is her walking in, looking at her father and saying, and I quote, "Who do we want to win today?"
Oh yeah, that was right. That was
looked at
not
you and was
watching
like,
the
hey,
Chiefs.
yeah, I was like, hey, buddy, I think you need to do some math here about what this is telling you
Yeah,
about what life is.
yeah. Listen. Let me tell you something else that you didn't know, because she knows I bet on the games, and now every Tuesday morning when I take her to school, I think you might actually not like this, Bo. But she says to me, she goes, "Can I quiz you?" And what that means is she wants me to open whatever sports betting app of my choice and her to do a version of the Simmons and Sal guess the lines with me, where she will tell me the game and I will guess what I think the point spread is, and she'll tell me if I'm wrong or right. And we've done that for 6 weeks now of this season.
Have you seen the episode of The Simpsons where Homer and Lisa are watching football because she's giving him great tips and
Oh,
she comes
yeah.
into class like
Yeah.
this is, and the Saints kick the meaningful field goal to cover the spread.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's where we're at. It's great parenting. I don't care.